Today is March 20th, 2021, and I like to welcome our fans in the United States and in the EU, and especially those that heard of us through DW News or the BBC, as we're big fans of on PBS. Well, since the last show, there's been quite a few things that have occurred. Basically, well, in Wisconsin now. The people getting the COVID vaccination has increased greatly. I'm scheduled to get my vaccination this week, and others. In addition, though, information about how to schedule vaccine has been made available. Like for example, through Racine County ARDC, Kenosha County ARD, and ARDC stands for aging. Well, basically, it's aging resource disability center, and so basically, for those who are aging or on disability, that's a place that's supposed to help everyone out. Now, in Racine County, they do provide rides, so if you can't get to the vaccination site, they will pick you up and give you a ride there and back, which is nice. But the thing what I noticed though is I did do a few things basically on YouTube where I posted some things, and on Facebook where I posted some things. I was looking at the curves for the virus, and what I did was I did the way that I was taught how to do it, which was you look at a semi-log curve. Basically, the y-axis is log of the number of cases, and the x-axis is the time. Now, when you look at that, what happens is you saw in the early part, basically you would see like at the beginning you saw like a big jump like this, and then what happens as the vaccine came out, you saw it go like this. Now going like this, sort of, it's still increasing, but the number of cases now it still followed this early curve, but however the graph here is going up at a faster rate than no. Now that shows the urgency for getting as many people vaccinated as possible and quickly, because on Firing Line a few weeks ago, Dr. Osterholm, epidemiologist, spoke about warning of a second wave, and he warned us about a third wave, before the third wave started. When you look at the actual case in linear form, you'll see like it goes like this, comes down, then we had to spike in fall, and now we have this little thing that's coming up now, and that's why places like Paris and other parts of France are under a stricter lockdown than other areas of France. And even in Germany or in the UK too. So what happens basically is, to really solve this problem, we really need to get those vaccinations going, and basically get them out as fast as we can. Using the Sputnik 5, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson. I think there's a few others, but basically what works, use it. That's the thing, like that though. And many of these vaccines have been verified by different journals. The Lancet did a test on Sputnik 5 and gave a good result on Sputnik 5, and Johnson & Johnson and others like that though. There's some issues about where some groups still don't want the vaccine, and I'm glad former President Trump made a comment for others to get the vaccine. I think that was very important to do so, as well as former presidents Clinton, Carter, Bush 43, and made comments as well in that though, to get the vaccine. The thing is, what happens though is, even though we're getting the vaccine, two friends of mine, they already had the vaccine. One friend has already had both jabs, and however, the vaccine is not like it's not like Superman's outfit. It doesn't mean that basically you can completely go out and have the virus bounce off you and everything else like Superman. Still means we still have to follow these protocols. And even though basically it's very frustrating, like when I go out, go out wear a mask. And I remember even 6 months ago, one person when I was in the bank made a comment to a teller and said, this is the only time you could ever walk into a bank wearing a mask in history, and that was it. So, the thing is, so what happens with that is basically is, even though this mask is frustrating, basically, when you're in close quarters, where or if you're walking, basically, and there's no one within 20 feet of you. You can wear it or not like that. I mean, basically, but the thing is, though, we still have to basically practice certain things. But what I would like to see, though, is really is what I would like to see is I would like to see a firmer policy and a more reliable policy. Because I mean, for example, first I heard, we're going to have all the kids vaccinated by September. Then basically now they're moving it up to June. And then, the original thing was, we're going to have everything done by March, and we're going to have the Grammys, Summerfest, and we're going to have, what happens in the Milwaukee area, Summerfest has been canceled for the second straight year. They tried to wait until September to have it, but, many people don't understand with Summerfest. There are many prominent groups that perform, and it's not just a matter of, we can be there next week and such and such and such and such. It's a matter of restarting the infrastructure, because for a group to perform, many people don't realize it. When you're restarting, it takes time, because basically logistics. What company are going to use to move the instruments, sound equipment, and everything else, and lodging. Sound engineers, technical engineers, stuff like that, and the other thing as well is basically just promotion, tickets, people at the park. The lead time is about 4 months, and if they don't know basically by say September, so that means August, July, June, April. So if they're not sure by April that they can start this process by April, they'll cancel out in September, because basically there's not enough lead time to do this. And see, that's where we need a firmer policy is, what is the estimate? And we can't have an estimate that says, we'll have it possibly by September or by 2022, which is way over here, or now we're going to move it over to June, and there's too much variability. What happened? I mean, like, for example, let's say you're making reservations for a friend's party or restaurant, and the maitre d' says, how many people can you expect? Well, we can expect 300 people, or we can expect 3 people. When a maitre d' would say, I can't make that type of reservation. That's too broad. That you need to narrow it down. Is it going to be a small party of 3 people, or is it going to be a big hall of our 300 people? Well, I think we'll make 300, and then you call me and says, we're going to have 3. Well, we set up the hall for 300 people, and we have costs associated with doing it for 300 people. And I mean, no, in real life, basically, when you make plans for reservations, you got to have it narrowed down. You got to have just a little bit of variability, not this, And that's why, sometimes when people say, listen to the scientist, there's a famous case during World War II about why basically the government stopped listening to scientists at one point when on the Manhattan Project, because one person they had running the Manhattan Project said, the general who was providing material says, how much uranium do you need? We may need this much, and we may need that much. And he said, I can't tell construction crew that, you need this much, or 1,000 times more than this much. There's no way they can do anything about that. So that's where Oppenheimer came in, and what happened was he looked at the figures and calculated, and he figured out realistically, okay, we need this much, and just thank you. And that was, and see, that's the point. Scientists like to think that that if they're within a power of 10 or 2 powers of 10, they're doing a good job on the estimates. No, in the real world, basically, even if you're off by 10% on your estimate, basically you're not doing a job like that. So that's why the scientists are good at what they do, but we need to have someone in production management to really get this thing down. Okay, when is the date? When can we say that basically K through 12 schools are going to go open and parents can send the kids back to school and no more Zoom meetings and such and such and such and such. When's the date? And that day has to be front loaded. Again, front loaded meaning like Summerfest. If Summerfest is occurring at this date, they have to have it front loaded here so they can get all the preparation. That's the same thing with schools. Schools are like a music thing. You have to have it front loaded 5 months in advance. So, okay, so you want schools open September, August, July, June, April, May, April. Okay, so basically, if the schools don't know by May 1st whether they can open, they can't open in September. They need to know by May 1st, and they need to know firmly, yes, you can open. And no matter what the political winds are, so if the flag moves this way or that way or this way or that way, nope, you're going to open September 1st. But so, no, I hate to say it, but the reason I like Firing Line so much is because Margaret Hoover has good guests, and what happens, they give the bottom line. There's no, well, we might do this, we might do there's a firm yes or no. Just like Dr. Osterholm. He said he gave his firm estimates, and he didn't worry about which way the political winds were blowing, whether he's going to be crucified by media on the right or crucified by media on the left, or people that claim they're the media, but they actually are working for different political parties or whatever. He said what he needed to say, and it was I found it very helpful on that though. But the thing is, what's the probability that basically things are going to be reopened? Okay, well, like I said, again, this front loading. Okay, now for schools it's 5 months. So if we okay, now the latest estimate is basically we should have 60% of people in the U.S. I'm using U.S. figures because sometimes I have difficulty getting other figures. Okay, vaccinated in June. Okay, so if we front load basically 5 months from June, that means basically certain things can start to reopen in October. But now what happens when you add children to it or basically add up to what's going to be required is the 85% herd immunity. They're predicting that in September. Okay, so we front load 5 months from September, which is February of 2022. Now, February of 2022 is in the winter in the U.S., and basically, that's very hard to do that. So what happens, you got to add 2 months. So basically April, that becomes April of 2022 to completely front load and get everything back up, assuming everyone has had the jabs, enough of the population has had the jabs to make herd immunity and everything. But then even with the front loading, for many of these businesses have had to run down on a low ember and low capacity. Like where I go, like Barnes and Noble, they had when they first reopened, they had to reorder product because basically they're closed for so long that they didn't realize first time they'd ever been the cafe had been ever closed for that long. They reordered product. And well, now the thing is, okay, so you consider basically reordering product. Okay, well, April. Well, basically, if everyone rushes, May of 2020, if people basically don't dog it, June of 2020, if people are dogging it, July of 2022. So basically July 2022, June of 2022, or May of 2022. Assuming that's with 85% herd immunity, that everything will be opened up again. Now, the whole thing is, this is all based upon that basically that there are people who are making decisions that aren't politically based, that they're making decisions that are, well, people say trust the scientists. Well, scientists are politically based because basically they have to, their grant money is dependent upon who approves the grant and sometimes what district they're in. And if they speak out the wrong way, they lose the grant, or or the grant's not approved or whatever. So what happens? We need to have when people do set dates like this, we can't have this power of 10. Well, we need 10 to the 1 of this material, or we need 10 to the 3 of this material. No, that doesn't work. Or we're going to have maybe 3 people attend this dinner, or we're going to have 300. If someone were to make a dinner reservation at Waldorf Astoria, New York, and say, well, okay, why would you make a dinner reservation? Okay, how many people are you expecting in your party, sir? Well, 3 to 300. Well, I'm sorry, sir, we can't do that. Well, wait, what do you mean? I could call you back with firmer figures. No, sir. You don't understand. Basically, there's different setup dynamics between if you're going to have a small party, if you're going to have a big party, and what happens is if you don't have the 300 people coming, you only have 3, then we lose business on that date and other stuff. And no major hotel would accept a dinner reservation like that. That's why when they say trust the scientists, stop working in powers of 10. You work the same way you expect contractors to work when they put in your electrical, when they put in your plumbing, when they build your buildings. You expect when they say your building is going to be done April 17th, you can trust the movers to come in on the 18th to move your scientific equipment, your lab equipment, your desk, and everything else in. You don't go by, well, it might be a 17th, it might be the February 15th of next year. No, you don't go by that either. So, firm estimate. So, we really need to get back to a contractual basis on this as if we're doing a building contract, and that's where people sometimes say, like when they rebuilt the World Trade Center, they're happy that Trump helped because basically he got it done on time, and that's and a firm date. Election's over, but basically, I voted for Trump, and there's 2 reasons I voted for him. Because in Wisconsin, first thing was when he ran for president, he finally got us to stop thinking of ourselves as a flyover state or as Whovilles that we're not here, and to prove that when he was elected, he came to Kenosha, and you wouldn't believe how many people were in Kenosha by Snap-on, waiting for him to come. And when they saw the Ospreys come in and land at Snap-on, that proved that he meant what he said, that we are no longer the Whovilles, we are no longer the forgotten people, we are no longer the flyover people. That means that basically the only time we contact is when a major election is and it's close. Now we have candidates coming all over. But just a shout out to the Democratic Party. Not all people live in Milwaukee. You guys got to come to Racine. You guys got to come to Oshkosh. You guys got to come out to Wautoma. You guys got to come out to the communities outside of Milwaukee and Dane County. And also you got to meet at places where basically most of us can meet you, because some of us actually do try to live a green existence. My carbon footprint is greatly reduced because I take the bus most of the time of public transportation, and then I pay someone to give me rides every so often. So basically I practice a low carbon footprint. So guys got to figure that out. The second reason why we voted for Trump is because basically many people in the elites thought, well, ag is, we don't have to care about ag. We don't have to care about the Rust Belt. Trump realized that basically it is important. People in ag do need help. Agriculture do need help, and it's not what many elites think of agriculture. If you go out to State Highway 21 and drive to Wautoma, you see these farms with windmills. They have windmills. Many of them that power generated. You also see farmers with laptops. They have a quite advanced farm computer system, which would equal any university computer system to keep track of stuff. And they have live contact with the Chicago Board of Trade, so they know real time as to how much they can sell the crop as soon as they harvest it. It's not basically what you think of. Basically something way back in the 19th century. No, and also they have automated milkers. But the thing is, what many people don't understand about automated milkers, the cow is a sentient being. You just can't have someone who basically has never had contact with the cow put it on, because the cow will feel uncomfortable and the milk won't taste good. The cows so what happens when they put those automated milkers on, they have people that basically are very friends with the cows, and the cows feel comfortable for them to put it on. And the East Coastal Elites don't understand that, because they never been out of the city. And see, the thing is, what my point is that basically you have to think of solving this COVID thing like a construction project. It has to be done by a certain date, and and you can't have this wavering date, and you can't keep playing politics. Well, we'll do it this way, we'll do it this way, or we're going to have Class A, Class B, Class C. Look, when you have a third spike coming, you get that vaccine out there as fast as possible. If someone wants it, give them the jab. Basically, just, and don't tell them what happens with those. But basically, that's why sometimes when I see I don't watch the news too much, because basically I get a little bit discouraged when I see all this politics and covering up like, if you're going to be that hard on Trump during his administration, you should be as equally hard on the next person who holds office. It goes both ways. You don't go easy on one and hard on the other. You're supposed to be critical on both. And let me know what you think. I prefer to receive contact and email via Twitter, and that Twitter address is Diana1A. And the reason I chose Diana1A is just something simple, because my last name is awful hard for some people to spell, and Diana1A is easy to remember. So until next time, let me know what you think. And this has been Ideas with Diana for March 20th, 2021.